Welcome to People, Places, and Things with Celine. My name is Celine Desrosiers. Today I am at the UpReach Therapeutic Riding Program in Goffstown. And we will meet with volunteers, we will meet with the director who will talk to us about different programs for children and adults. So please join us. I am now with Barb Miles, the Director of Development. Hi, Barb, how are you?
I'm well, Celine. How are you?
We are good, and we would like to know a little bit about your program. Would you please talk to us?
I would be proud to tell the story, and it's a story really worth telling. A woman named Liz Hartel, who lived in Denmark as a child, grew up riding horses all of her life, but she developed polio, which means that she was crippled. She was paralyzed from the waist down. Well, to ride a horse, you have to mount. You must use your legs. So Liz was determined that she was not going to give up horseback riding. So she continued to ride. She continued to improve her equestrian skills. And by 1952, she was eligible to compete in the Helsinki Olympics. First woman ever to compete against men.
That is incredible.
It's wonderful. So now with her doctors and her nurses recorded all of the physical movements and the strength that developed as she was riding her horse. First, you have to mount the horse using your legs. You have to post in the saddle, which strengthens your core muscles. You have to control the horse with your hands. You have to communicate with the horse. So her doctor and her nurses recorded how she regained strength, even with polio, regained her strength, competed in the 1952 Olympics, again in the 1956 Olympics, and became a silver medalist. For the rest of her life, she continued to teach horseback riding, and she lived well into her 70s and was regarded as one of the most independent and strong women in Denmark.
What a powerful story.
It is, and it's true. So we hold Liz as the woman who actually recorded and began to testify about the strength and the power of horses as a therapeutic creature. Now, her story spread through Denmark and through Europe in the 50s and 60s. So centers started beginning to open and to teach students in Europe during the 50s and 60s. By the mid-1960s, Canada had opened several centers, and by the mid-70s, centers were beginning to open all throughout North America. Now there are thousands of therapeutic horseback rider centers all throughout the world.
So she started a wonderful program and give women, a sense of endurance and the strength that she give to people,
She is the heroine of equestrian therapeutic riding.
It is amazing the bond that is formed between horses and human, with the story that you just tell me. This is something that now people are aware of.
And you'll see that as we walk through the center and as you observe lessons and speak with students and their parents here. We understand the physical benefits of therapeutic horseback riding. We know that it opens your diaphragm. We know that it strengthens your core muscles. We know that it gives you confidence when you've got the power over a 1,500-pound horse and you're a tiny person. It gives you great confidence. What we're still discovering is that beautiful, empathetic trust that develops between the horse and the rider. And all of us who've had pets, whether they're dogs or cats or horses, know that there's that special relationship that only we can appreciate and understand.
They say that the unconditional love between animals and human is something very dear.
It touches our hearts.
Yeah. Well, I would like to know more, so we'll go meet Karen and have other information about the riding center. Thank you, Barb.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Let me introduce you to Karen Kirsten, the Executive Director here at the Riding Center. Karen, I heard many things about you, and I would like to know a little bit about your history here and how you arrived here. But first of all, I would like to know what's the story behind your singing, the country music, and tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, there's actually an interesting story that I don't often share, but I will with you and your most intimate friends.
Yes.
UpReach Therapeutic Riding Center is near and dear to my heart, and I sing in a country band called Karen, Morgan, and Pony Express. And many, many years ago, probably about 16 or 17 years ago, we were invited to come and sing and perform at a major fundraiser, the Hoedowns, here at the center in Goffstown. And when I got here, I was so enamored by what I saw happening, and I met the staff, and I met some of the families. And the impact was so profound on what the program does that I felt compelled to donate back the money that they were going to pay us as a band for their fundraiser, become more involved. We would be their charity of choice as long as they wanted to have the band come back and help with fundraising. And little did I know that that would be the stepping stone to becoming the executive director and really kind of helping fulfill the mission and the further purpose of what the organization does. So it's a blessing to be able to be here to talk to you about the center today.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. First Lady of Country Music, right?
New Hampshire's First Lady of Country Music. Yes, I've been called that.
Yes, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
A little bit about the history of your business here. Would you please tell us? I know it has been founded in 1992.
Actually, 1992 was when we first received our nonprofit incorporation, which was a huge milestone for UpReach. I've been here about 14 years, and the center was actually founded as a result of Edith Loeb Tomasco's mother, Naki Loeb, who lived on a house on the property, was involved in an automobile accident, and unfortunately, she was paralyzed and in a wheelchair. And Edie knew that her mother loved to ride, and this was originally Brindle-led farm, riding, training, thoroughbred stable. So Edie decided to do some investigating. She'd heard about the concept of therapeutic riding and determined that that was something that they could do to help her mom safely be able to enjoy the horseback riding experience which she had so loved. And although Naki really never continued to ride, the seed was planted. And what started way back, and we're getting ready to celebrate our 20th anniversary with a borrowed horse, a rider, a couple of volunteers, has grown into the 96-acre farm that we're on today, with the indoor riding arena serving approximately 55 to 60 therapeutic riding participants, about 10 to 12 therapeutic driving participants. And we also have some unmounted equine-assisted learning activities with our Hope-based curriculum program. We recently received our accreditation for our equine-assisted learning and community service-based juvenile diversion program. And our future is very hopeful and bright as we begin to continue to move forward with mobile programming and ultimately establishing a formal satellite facility at Crotchet Mountain Rehabilitation Center.
What is the story of you joining or them joining you at the Crotchet Mountain?
Well, Don Shumway, who's the executive at Crotchet Mountain Rehabilitation Center, was actually one of the founding members of the board of directors of UpReach. And when I first came on board, I had reached out to him to say, what do I need to know about UpReach? What do I need to know about what's already been tried and true with running the organization? What can I learn from you as I come on board as the executive director? And by the way, while you're here, let's start to plant the seed of collaborating with Crotchet Mountain Rehabilitation Center. There's obviously a population that we both serve, and how can we blend our services and collaborate and really change lives? And it was a long time in coming with each of our organizations growing and changing and adapting, but we're very excited now to be taking horses up 2 days a week, working with approximately 14 to 20 participants on the mountain.
When you say participants, what do you mean?
Well, they have a residential population up there of individuals with traumatic brain injuries and all different kinds of challenges. They have a day program with students that come in from various communities that the communities can't effectively serve them in their own school system, so they come to the Crotchet Mountain School. So we're going on mountain. We're bringing the horses to them so that for what's powerful for them in a 10 or 15-minute experience with the horse, we can do right there, right at the Crotchet Mountain facility, with them only having to take a few minutes to come from their classroom or their residential facility to come down and participate, versus having to drive down here for a 40-minute ride to then try to participate. So we can really increase the number of people that we can partner with the Power of the Horse to serve. So we're very, very excited about changing lives.
And today I heard that you already have how many clients? 80 clients a week with 120 volunteers, is that right?
That's right, and 120 volunteers to do what we do. We are still very much a grassroots 501c3 nonprofit organization. We really depend on the community, A, to know who we are, know what we do, know where we do it, and then the next thing is to know that all they need to do is ask, and we're more than happy to figure out a way to help them get involved.
And how do you recruit your volunteers? What do they have to do? Do they have a special training to walk the horses and help the clients?
There's actually a number of different ways that a volunteer can participate in the program, Celine. And first of all, the bulk of our volunteers are really working in the lessons. So if you want to come down, they've told me, one of our recent volunteers emailed me an article that by walking for 45 minutes in a therapeutic riding lesson, that she added 90 minutes to her life. So if you're looking for an exercise plan that involves kids and horses, we're the place to be. So most of them work in the lessons as leaders or sidewalkers. They don't have to have any horse experience. If they do, it's a bonus. But we do have volunteer trainings that we require them to attend, so we can tell them a little bit about who we are, what we do, and then bring them in the ring to help them understand how to safely work with the horse and be a great support team to our PATH certified therapeutic riding and driving instructors in order to be able to successfully serve the kids and adults that come here.
Is there an age requirement for people who come and volunteer here?
Well, if you're going to volunteer in the program, which is the first piece of volunteering we talked about, you do need to be at least 14 years old. If you are interested in still volunteering, there's all kinds of barn chores and all kinds of things that still need to get done. So there's a lot of weekend activities that go on, and during the day, the kids still need to come in and help clean stalls and do all of those things. So we're more than happy to have them come down and help in those ways.
So the word is out there. Thank you very much, Karen. It was very informative. We're now going to move to Lauren, and Lauren's going to talk to us about...
Well, Lauren's actually our assistant program director and volunteer coordinator, so she's the one to call and ask for.
Okay, let's join her. Thank you so much. I am now with Lauren. Lauren is the coordinator director, right?
I'm the assistant program director.
Okay, would you please tell us about the program, the therapeutic driving?
Absolutely. UpReach has a therapeutic driving program. It is available for any of our students that are interested in learning the skill of driving. Driving is where the horse wears a harness, is hitched to a cart. The student and their instructor ride in the cart behind the horse and direct them with a long set of reins and their voice. We have about 13 students that are currently in our driving program right now. Driving is a great activity for anyone who's interested, but also an alternative opportunity. We have a weight limit for both our riding and our driving programs. It's higher for driving, so someone who wants to participate in an equine activity but is over the riding weight limit has another opportunity in driving. We have students who have ridden in the past but are now interested in learning to drive for a variety of reasons. We have some students who perhaps are very anxious about being on top of a horse, and being in the cart provides them with, a different element of safety, or they may feel more comfortable in that position.
The driving is more for clients who have more disability, is that right? People who cannot ride?
Not necessarily. Some of our students do drive because they can't ride, maybe for safety or physical reasons. But we do have students who drive who would be capable of riding but aren't necessarily interested in that skill, perhaps.
What are the major benefits for driving?
Driving offers an incredible amount of independence. You can get in the cart behind your horse, take the reins, and away you go. We have students who used to ride who now drive, who are able to do a lot more things because of their diagnosis. Some of them, when they rode, they might need a lot of support from volunteers. They might always have someone hooked up to the horse helping them control. They might have been able to ride at the walk only. And some of these students, when they transition to driving, the world opens up. Now they don't have 3 people walking alongside of them supporting them. It's just them and their instructor and their horse. They can trot off into the sunset and experience everything that we enjoy of a horse. You may have that same opportunity when you drive.
And it gives them a sense of responsibility as well.
Absolutely. You know, I'm in charge of my horse. I need to take care of my horse, thank my horse when I'm done, you know, give them a treat. The horses really love that too.
Oh, thank you so much for talking with us, Lauren. And we'll go learn a little bit about the other program. Thanks.
Thank you.
We're now back with Karen. And Karen, would you please tell us about the equipment, what you use? I heard about the Western saddle, English saddle. We would like to learn a little bit about it.
Sure, let me share with you some of the tack and equipment, which is what we actually call what we use in horseback riding. First of all, the most important piece of equipment for every participant in the program is a safety helmet. And the safety helmet, some of our participants buy their own helmets, but we provide helmets for everyone so that the first priority is safety at all times. We talked a little bit about the Western saddle. Here's a typical Western saddle. It has the horn on it that the cowboy would put his lasso. But most importantly, you'll see that there's a lot of leather here and a lot of support in the saddle. So for someone who can't sit up quite as well on their own, a Western saddle provides a lot more support, but not as much contact with the horse.
How come it's some are wider than others? Is there a reason?
Well, horses are wider than others, so the saddles need to be wider than others. And the saddle is really intended to fit the horse, more so than the rider, although you can try to work to conform to both. The next piece of equipment we're going to talk a little bit that you mentioned is the English saddle.
Yep.
Here's a typical English saddle. You can see there's much less leather to it. There's no horn, so again, the rider has much more contact with the horse. When the rider has more contact with the horse, their legs can begin to absorb the heat of the horse. They can really feel the way the muscles of the horse move. So that contact and that connection physically, more physically with the horse, again, is how the physical therapeutic component of what we do comes into play. For any of you who have ever ridden a horse, think back and remember how those muscles felt an hour later, maybe 2 hours later. The movement of the horse forces the body to balance and counterbalance, so it will strengthen those trunk muscles. As Barb mentioned, it will improve and open the diaphragm. It improves your breathing. It improves your digestion.
And your balance.
And your balance. And all of those things lead to a better sense of well-being. And isn't that what we want? But most importantly, the foundational piece is a level of independence. And don't we really all struggle for independence and control? And that's what we strive to achieve here, independence and control. Everybody that rides should have a good pair of reins to help steer their horse. This is actually what are called rainbow reins. They're called rainbow reins because of the various colors of the rainbow that are used on them. So for participants who it's harder to say or may not cognitively be able to say or understand when you say hold your reins tighter or hold your reins looser, you can say hold your reins on the yellow, hold your reins on the blue, and that will either shorten or lengthen their reins. It's also a great way when you're working with children, not only to teach riding skills, but help teach them colors. So embedded in a lot of our horse and equestrian activities are other skills that we're working on as well.
What are the other skills you mentioned, when they ride on it for the color, and then they also learn more?
Yes. So for some individuals, we're working on fine and gross motor skills, things to do with your hands to help you hold your pencil better in school, or hold your fork better so that you can eat better. We can do that by having them actually cinch the girth and use all the buckles. We can have them work on those things by going around the ring and around the ring and working on steering, asking their horse to stop, and then helping to reach to get certain articles off the rail. It may be bean bags that may have colors or numbers on them. We may do hoops. We may have them have a soft basketball or other ball and throw it in a basketball hoop. So they're learning spatial awareness, hand-eye coordination. All of those things that some of us take for granted every single day, that a lot of our people that come to ride with us really need to work on. But the key is that no one is saying, oh, I'm coming to UpReach to do my therapy. They're coming to UpReach to ride horses, to see their new best friend, Abba, or Jilly, or Lulu, or Clarissa, to be a rodeo cowboy for a half an hour. So it's really exciting to be part of that and to be able to take them out of a traditional therapy environment and put them into a barn and put them with a warm, fuzzy, big-hearted horse and really change their lives.
So you make fun out of it too. You know, not only they come and ride, but they have the full contact with the animal.
They do, and the bonding experience is really important. So anybody that's had a pet knows what it's like to come home after a hard day, and you know, the biggest burly guys all of a sudden, ooh, 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 their little puppy dog or the cat or whatever the case may be. And there's something about that human horse connection, that undeniable bond that motivates people to take the kinds of risks to do things that they wouldn't normally do.
And they also have a sense of comfort.
They do. I think that the other thing is horses are very empathic and they very much mirror back to us. So when we talk about our equine assisted learning program and our unmounted programs, we talk about working with youth at risk that really need to change attitudes and change behaviors. And there's something about working with horses in an unmounted activity that give them the opportunity to have that aha moment. That aha moment themselves, that mom or dad, that you and I, we can tell our kids 100 times, but they don't listen to us. But when they have the opportunity to experience that firsthand with the horse, that connection is made, that aha moment happens, and that's when the magic starts.
Do you make the children and the adult as well mount and unmount the horse at the end?
Yes, there's a number of different ways that a participant can mount. First of all, you shouldn't really mount from the ground at all. When you do that, you grab onto the saddle of the horse, it kind of twists the horse's back, which is uncomfortable for the horse. So you should always at least use a mounting block, which allows you to step up and more easily step into the stirrups. For those of us who are a little older, that's a great thing. We're going to use that. We're going to go with that. We also have a mounting ramp, which I hope we'll get a chance to get a picture of in a little bit, where we can actually lead the horse through. A wheelchair can actually go up onto the ramp. We have a lift that can actually come over and lift the client out of the wheelchair and safely and comfortably and respectfully set them on the back of the horse so that they can just adjust the stirrups and the instructor and the volunteer team can begin the therapeutic riding lesson.
This is a well-organized, and you guys take care of the safety of the client and also the relationship between the horse, and everything is settled for them to be very safety again.
Again, safety is the paramount thing. We are a PATH International Premier Accredited Center, which means that we require all of our instructors to go through a level of certification to ensure that they have the right information about how to work with the individual client, what their individual challenges are, and how to match them with the right horse to have successful outcomes.
I can sense your excitement about the program, and I would like to go out there and see some horses and talk about the program. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Karen, we are about to see Patrick, one of your clients, come and drive. Would you explain to the audience how it works?
Well, actually, let me start by just telling them a little bit about the cart. This is a very special cart. This is a wheelchair accessible cart, which means that Patrick doesn't need to get out of his wheelchair. There's a ramp in the back of the cart that actually comes down. The wheelchair can roll right up into the cart. The ramp goes back up under the cart. There's a bar that comes across to secure the wheelchair into the cart. And as you can see, there's a seat on the cart where Lauren, the instructor, can sit, and then off they can go. So they'll be working on fine and gross motor skills. The movement of the cart really helps Patrick with his balance. And the most important thing is that Patrick really has a great time when he's doing this. So it gives him something that's really fun to do. We're really proud of this cart. It was actually acquired by a grant from the Arthur Getz Foundation, and it was matching funds were raised through one of our earlier hoedowns to allow us to have this wheelchair accessible cart. So it's really an integral part of the driving program.
Some of the clients cannot ride the horses, so what a great idea to bring them and have the experience on riding a horse, a sense of responsibility, right?
It is. It's a great way for everyone to be able to participate in a horse-related activity. So how about if we take a look and see Lauren in action as she warms up?
I would love that.
To prepare Clarissa for her driving lesson, we've groomed her with all of her brushes, and then we harness her up. She wears, our driving harness is made up of a saddle and back strap. We've buckled the crupper around her tail, helps keep everything in place. She wears a breast collar. When Clarissa pulls the cart, she's actually pulling into the breast collar, and that when we hitch her to the cart, the traces from the breast collar will attach to the cart, and that's how she'll pull it. We've run the reins, and Emma is bridling her up so that she will be ready to go, and brushed her tail.
I am with Kathy McDonald, and Kathy, would you please tell us the story of your son, his injury, and why you bring him here for therapy?
Patrick was born with the mitochondrial disease, which for him has developmental delay. So he needs a little extra PT and OT and doing normal everyday movements. He started horse riding when he was 2.5 years old, and he's 12 years old now, so he's been here 9.5 years. And it's a fantastic way to get therapy in a friendly, upbeat, fun situation rather than just a therapeutic room with ropes and weights. And so he gets to learn how to ride, and they play games during the riding sessions, so they work on communication, on movement. He gets to balance. They play music. It's just an all-around good time.
He seems very happy to be driving right now.
Oh, he is. He loves riding.
How often do you bring him here at the UpReach?
About once a week.
And like you said, he learned other motor skill as well, right?
Yes. Yes, he is both occupational and physical therapy techniques that are used. So it's an all-around good, good exercise and good therapy for him.
Do you feel a sense of comfort and happiness when he comes here and he sees the horse?
Absolutely. Knowing that he enjoys the exercise and how good it is for him. I mean, what a fantastic way for him to get better, get more physically moving, and enjoy the whole process. It's fantastic.
And the volunteer and also the staff here are making sure that everything is safe, so you are okay when you come here and you feel it's a good environment for your son?
Absolutely, no question about it. We've gone through the volunteer programming ourselves, both my husband and I, and it's a terrific program, and there's no question about the level of safety and comfort for the riders. Everything else is very well taken care of.
Yeah. You are aware of the senses, the bond that Patrick has, you know, with the program here, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. He's been coming here for a long time, and even on the drive over, he's very excited. And we get his riding helmet out and get everything ready, and he loves the smells. And the faster the horse can go, the better for him. And the bouncier and the rougher the road, the better.
He seems to enjoy it. Thank you very much for having a few words with us. Karen, who do we have here?
This is Lulu, and Lulu is in our therapeutic riding and driving program, so she double teams, and she's a great example of how important the horses are in the program. We have about 13 horses that we use in our program right now to provide our therapeutic riding and driving programs, and the horses are our most important equestrian partners. And she smells the treats I have in my pocket. No,
Hi,
she
kitty.
has no treats for you.
How old is she?
Lulu is about 10 years old, and she's a halflinger, and as you can, you might be able to tell, she's rather large in size, big in heart, but she's like a big Barco lounger, and she's not very camera
Friendly.
Be good on camera.
For our viewer, how long does a horse live?
A horse can live as old as 30 to 35 years old. A lot of our horses come to us as free leases or donations and have had a life doing all kinds of other things before they get here. But we feel that this is probably some of the most important work they get to do. A horse comes to us and has about a 6-week evaluation period where we really see how they settle into the barn environment, how they interact with the staff and the volunteers, most importantly, how they interact with the rest of the herd. It's important that a horse be happy and healthy in the barn environment, as well as be able to deal with all of the adaptive equipment, the wheelchairs, the walkers, all of the computer technology that comes along with the clients that allow them to communicate. And we're just really blessed to have such a really happy and healthy herd and a staff and a group that takes such good care of them. But it's important that our donors and our volunteers understand that it's an expensive venture, what we do. Horses can be expensive. They need shoes every 6 to 8 weeks. They eat a lot of hay. They need a lot of treats. Yes, Miss Lulu, they need a lot of treats. And they're expensive to maintain. So we are very fortunate that we have so many people that help make contributions. You can adopt a horse.
Yes.
You can go onto our website at upreachtrc.org and check out all the individual horse profiles, learn a little bit about their personalities, and you can help underwrite their feed, their shoeing, their bedding, any of their vet visits, and that goes a long way to allowing us to make sure that every penny of our program goes towards being able to help scholarship participants and keep our costs low so that more families can participate in our programming.
That's what I was going to ask you, how we can help. How does the people out there can help the UpReach continue?
Well, we talked about volunteering is a great way to invest 1 hour a week of your time, whether it's coming into the barn or the office or working in the program. It's about making a cash contribution that we can use to, whether it's to help keep the lights on. It's not very glamorous to keep the lights on, but we can't do what we do in the dark. Helping buy feed and all of that for the horses, helping to underwrite scholarships. So if you really have an individual that you'd like to help them fund the programming for them to participate, it costs us about $172 an hour to provide programming. We're only charging our participants $50. So there's a tremendous amount that we already underwrite. So if you could help us underwrite the difference and make a contribution to our scholarship fund, again, you can reach us through our website, and we'd love to talk to you and find out how best you'd like to use your donation.
That's what I was planning.
Great B-roll stuff.
Yay! Oh my God, look at this one. Look at this one. Barb, we were talking with Karen earlier about some stories that happened here at the farm. What is your story for us?
Well, you missed it because you were busy, as you should be, filming Patrick in his driving lesson. But behind your back, Mallory, one of our volunteers, snuck in with 3 50-pound salt licks. The horses need salt, you know, that's part of their diet. And they cost about $6, maybe $7 a piece, but this is 50 pounds. And you're busy filming out here, and here she's sneaking in with the salt licks to stick them in the grain room. And that's something that happens magically here. We rarely have to ask our volunteers for things that we need because they know it. They know the barn, they know the horses, they know our budget, and they know what we need. So every week someone will come in with a case of paper towels or toilet paper. Mallory comes in with salt licks. People come in with carrots and treats for the horses all the time.
You have
office supplies. They'll bring office supplies. They'll bring copy paper, pens, paper clips, everything that we need in the office and everything you need at home, we need here. So our volunteers make sure they take care of us.
You have a generous crowd.
Oh, they're wonderful. And every volunteer walks away here saying that they take home more with them than they bring here.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Karen, before we let you go, because you're so busy, there are two stories that touched me about two little girls. Would you please tell us?
Well, one little girl is Ainsley, and one of the things that that Ainsley's responsible for when she comes in for her lesson is to help groom her horse. So she helps to brush her horse, and she brushes her horse's mane and tail and uses all the brushes. And they have a grooming song that they sing when they're brushing the horse's mane and tail. And we found out afterwards that Mom oftentimes used to have a hard time brushing Ainsley's hair at home because of the sensory issues of that. But she found that if Ainsley sings the grooming song with her, then Ainsley is more excited about having her hair brushed and getting that task done for the day. So it goes much more joyfully for both mom and daughter to do that. Probably one of the most powerful stories that really continues to touch me to this day is that Nick used to come to ride, and he would have a walker to help him walk down the aisle, and he would greet his horse, and he'd greet his volunteers with high fives. And one day he walked in, and he'd just gotten a brand new pair of sneakers that he was very excited to show off. And they were the kind of sneakers that light up when you walk. Except with Nick, when he walked into the barn, only one sneaker lights up, because Nick was pigeon-toed and he walked on his toes of his feet, so his heels really never touched the ground very often. But after his 1-hour riding session, with the warmth of the horse stretching his leg muscles and helping him to relax his leg muscles and his heels naturally coming down, when Nick would leave the barn, both sneakers would light up. Aww. And then I have to give you a third story. I do have
please.
to tell.
Yes.
Emma had been riding in the program for just a couple of weeks. Her mother's doctor had indicated that therapeutic riding might be a great help for Emma, who had an autism diagnosis. And when Emma came to us, she was just 5 years old, and she rarely used her words. And so she used the picture exchange communication system, and she would point out different things, and we would supplement the pictures of her mom and her pet at home and all of those things with pictures of the horse and the grooming tools and the saddle and the bridle and all of those things. And the volunteers were walking with Emma around the ring, and Emma stopped her horse, and she pointed to her mother, who was standing at the rail, and said, "Mama." Well, the volunteers were like, "Good use of words, Emma, that's excellent. Now tell your horse to walk on," and off they went. Well, I'm watching this, and I watch the mother burst into tears. So I go over to find out what's going on. Come to find out, that was the very first time the mother had heard her 5-year-old daughter call her mama. So on the days when the donations aren't quite there, or on the days when it seems a little harder than it needs to be, it's Emma's story and the fact that no mother should have to wait 5 years to hear their daughter call them mama that makes an important reason to give and makes an important reason for us to continue to be here. So as we celebrate 20 years of success, the future is bright, and we look forward to many more opportunities so that no mother ever has to wait to hear the word mama.
That is a beautiful, powerful story. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you for coming and sharing our mission of what we do.
Thank you, Karen. This is the Anna Barr Show, and before we go, Karen, would you tell us about, there's an annual gala that you organize in order for the world to know about the UpReach Farm. How does that go?
Well, we have our annual gala at the end of October, and this year it's October 26th at the Manchester Country Club. We call it our cocktail party with a purpose. So obviously it's a fundraising event. This year we celebrate 20 years of success, so we'll have a wonderful ice sculpture, we'll have a celebratory champagne toast, and someone wins a chance to win a diamond. We have a wonderful volunteer of UpReach that is also a wonderful artist that's going to do some weaving and weave something that we will auction off at the end of the gala. So come on down and join our cocktail party with a purpose. And again, more information, as always, on our website at www.upreachtrc.org. Come on down to the barn and get some horse on you.
Well, that concludes our program, and I would like to thank you for watching People, Places, and Things with Celine, and a special thanks to Karen, to Barb, and Lauren for their output on how the program works. And we'll see you soon.